Is your team struggling to align with your product-led strategy? You may be putting in the effort and everybody's firing on all cylinders, but growth is stalling and you don't seem to know where to get more to grow. And it's most likely not due to lack of motivation. You see everybody working very hard, but perhaps is that they don't have clear direction and their efforts may be scattered. So I typically ask when I work with customers like this, do you have a scorecard? Do you have precise KPIs guiding the entire organization? You see, without KPIs, all that energy is just like fireworks, boom, 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 going in different directions. They're going, they're exploding, they're trying to make a difference, but they're scattered all over the place. And if this sounds familiar, you're in the right place. My name is Rodrigo Fernandez, and today we're going to cover how to set KPIs that align your team and get everyone rowing in the same direction. By the end of this video, you'll know why KPIs are essential, common mistakes to avoid, and which metrics to track, and how to align your team for success. Plus, stay tuned because you're also going to receive a free resource to kickstart your KPI journey and become a KPI master. So, ready to begin? Let's dive in. So KPIs, key performance indicators. Why are they so important in product-led? I mean, I think they're important in every single business, okay? But here's the deal. The product-led model is at its core data-driven. And when you're transitioning to this approach, KPIs aren't just nice to haves, They are your guideposts. And it is incredible the amount of founders that I meet that run their businesses without a scorecard, without proper KPIs. They look at some here and there, but they're scattered. And the challenge is that without them, you're essentially flying blind. And this is why. Number one, KPIs measure performance. They give you concrete, measurable data to assess how your product is doing. And with KPIs, instead of relying on gut feeling, you get real insights that tell you where to focus your needs and where to fill the gaps. Second, it's important to acknowledge that a product-led environment is not about getting everyone working, but getting them to work towards the same outcomes. And the right KPIs help every team member see how their work connects to the bigger picture, and that in and of itself is an incredible motivation booster. And here's a fact, I need you to keep this close to you at all times throughout this video. KPIs drive database decisions. In product-led growth, user behavior and feedback are your most valuable assets, meaning that tracking these KPIs helps you identify your biggest bottlenecks, where users are getting stuck, what features they love, and where the product might be falling short. In a nutshell, KPIs allow you to make adjustments based on real data and not just assumptions. And boy, oh boy, there are so many companies running on assumptions, it's crazy. Now that you can't overlook how crucial KPIs are to product-led, let's dive into some of the most common mistakes. So mistake number one is focusing on the wrong metrics. You see, focusing on what I call vanity metrics, things like total signups or website visits. Yep, total signup and website visits can be vanity metrics. And let me explain why. In the very early stages of your business, when you're just a little baby, getting impressions and website visitors was at the top of your priorities because, well, you got to fill the bucket, okay? But after you get that engine running, looking at website visitors and total signups can be a costly distraction. In a recent engagement, I worked with a business that was getting over 80,000 website visitors a month and over 5,000 signups per month. But conversion to paid was well below 3%. They knew all of their top funnel metrics, okay, but very little about their product usage and adoption. Vanity metrics look impressive on paper, but they don't really tell you how your product is performing, where it counts. And the issue here is that by relying on vanity metrics, different teams start pulling in different directions, often blindly instead of focusing on the information that they really need that will move the needle. Superficial numbers won't reflect user engagement and value, but the right KPIs for your org are the ones that help your team understand whether your product is solving real problems or not. Mistake number two, neglecting user engagement before monetization. A very common pitfall I see every day when I speak with founders is companies rushing to monetize before they have a full experience of the product's value. In many cases, commercial and product teams push for conversions prematurely without ensuring that users have had that aha moment. And the problem here too is that many companies don't know when that aha moment occurs. Without that moment, users are unlikely to convert, or if they do, they will churn very quickly. Take Vidyard, for example. When they first tried a PLG model, they struggled because users were required to complete a long series of steps before experiencing the core value of the product. And many users dropped off before reaching even the moment when they understood the product's benefit. Vidyard's team realized they needed to prioritize giving users quicker wins, making it easier for them to experience value early on in the onboarding. So by shifting their focus from just acquiring signups to creating a streamlined onboarding process, they doubled activation rates. This made their users' acquisition efforts much more valuable because the users who engaged were more likely to stick around. So in your case, if your teams are pushing for sales before users are truly engaged and are not focused on tracking that journey to value within your product, your efforts will surely backfire, just like Vidyard's initial PLG attempt. Instead, focus on aligning teams around user engagement metrics that signal readiness to convert, such as first value and key usage indicators before moving to monetization. That way, your sales and marketing teams are not just chasing numbers, but helping users who are primed for conversion. Mistake number 3 is using a web analytics tool for product analytics. Look, I get it. You've got Google Analytics, and GA4 is promising all these wonderful things with event tracking. And yeah, it's doing a fantastic job tracking all your website traffic. But here's the problem. Google Analytics is not a product analytics solution. Far too many SaaS companies fall into this trap. Sticking with GA or another web analytics tool out for convenience rather than investing in proper product analytics instrumentation is a crucial mistake. And why is that such a big deal, you ask? Well, let me break it down. You're measuring the wrong things. Web analytics tools like GA4 are designed to track website performance, not in-app user behavior. They tell you how many visitors come to your site, where they're from, and which pages they visited. But when it comes to understanding how users engage with your product itself, how they use features, where they drop off in the onboarding process, or what actions lead to conversion or retention, you're flying blind, or you have to set up these very convoluted events within Google Analytics to try to even get somewhere with it. It's highly complicated and I do not recommend it. It's like trying to measure how well your restaurant is doing by counting how many people walk by the window. Yeah, it's data, but is it the data that you really need? Now, let me introduce you to Amplitude, the product analytics tool you actually need. And by the way, out of full transparency here, Amplitude is not paying me to tell you this. This is my own personal experience. Unlike GA4, which is spread thin trying to track everything, and poorly by the way, Amplitude specializes in understanding why users behave the way they do within your product. And here's why it's a better fit for your product-led growth strategy. Number 1, event-based tracking. That's actually useful, eh? Yes, GA4 has event-based tracking as well, but Amplitude tracks deep user behaviors within your product, such as how users navigate key features, progress through onboarding flows, achieve milestones, offering granular insights that go far beyond the basic metrics like page views or clicks. And it's way easier to set up, by the way. This level of detail helps you uncover the exact moments where users find value or experience friction, which is crucial to optimizing the entire user journey. The second thing I will mention is real-time insights without the headache. With Amplitude, you can get real-time insights without having to set up overly complicated dashboards or spend hours deciphering what the data means. It's difficult enough to set this up on Google Analytics, and sometimes impossible. And the custom dashboards that Amplitude offers are freaking awesome. You can track exactly where users are dropping off and where they are seeing value in your product. Of course, you need a proper tracking plan. to do this, okay? And so this Amplitude is not a set it and forget it or install it and out of the box you see all this magic. You need to plan it, but the overall setup of Amplitude is way better than Google Analytics. The third thing I want to mention to you about Amplitude is that it has segmentation superpowers. And what I mean by that is it lets you create behavioral cohorts or groups of users based on specific actions or attributes of your users. Want to see how engaged users are from a specific marketing campaign or how they're doing in the product? Easy. Want to identify power users? Done. Tailoring the user experience becomes so much simpler. No more, did we set that up right moments? GA4 is notorious for its complex setup and steep learning curve. Meanwhile, Amplitude's user-friendly interface lets even non-technical teams gather meaningful insights without needing a PhD in analytics, which is fantastic because that's exactly what you need. You need all of your teams going into one product analytics platform to view their data and analyze it. And don't get me wrong here, okay? Google Analytics has its place, but it's not here in the product. Google Analytics is for marketing and web analytics. It gives you a bird's eye view of your traffic sources and campaign effectiveness. But if you're trying to understand what's happening inside your product, like how many users are finding value, where they're getting stuck, or which features lead to the most conversions, GA4 just isn't up to the task. It's like trying to fix a leaky pipe with duct tape. It'll hold for a while, but eventually you need the right tool. So here's the bottom line. If you want to truly understand user behavior and optimize your product with the right KPIs, you need to invest in product analytics. And a tool like Amplitude is a really good investment. You're not going to spend thousands of dollars on this, by the way. You can track up to 300,000 monthly unique visitors for a really good price. So don't settle for a makeshift solution. Your product deserves better, and so does your team. Because at the end of the day, clear product insights are what drive alignment and growth, and most importantly, retained happy customers. So by now you understand that the real magic in product-led growth happens when you focus on the right KPIs. The 6 metrics that I'm going to discuss with you now have consistently proven to be key drivers of success for my customers, covering every detail of the customer lifecycle, from acquisition to engagement to monetization. So let's dive in. The first KPI that I want to share with you is called time to value. Time to value measures how long it takes for a user to experience the aha moment or the point where they realize your product's value. The faster you can get your users to this moment, the more likely they are to stay engaged and eventually convert. If users are wandering through your product and they haven't seen the light at the end of the tunnel, they're going to leave. And if your offer is time sensitive, like it has a 7-day trial or a 14-day trial, etc., the time to value will play a huge role in understanding what makes a successful trial. Generally speaking, a lower time to value equals happier customers and better retention. But here's the catch, To figure out time to value, you need to know what is the core value. And you also need to map that journey to value. What are the milestones and micro conversions that you need in between each milestone to get to value? The second KPI that I want to share with you is product qualified leads, or PQLs. Forget the old marketing jargon about MQLs, marketing qualified leads. In a product-led world, it's all about PQLs, product qualified leads. These are the users who are already engaged deeply within your product and seen its value. They've tested it out, they've hit every key milestone, and now they're primed to convert into paying customers. You want to track this at a company-wide level. You want to make sure that all of your teams are aligned to generating product qualified leads. Product qualified leads, PQLs, are your golden tickets in a product-led model. And tracking this metric helps you laser focus your sales efforts where they're most likely to convert. The third KPI I want to share with you today is feature adoption rate. This measures how well your users are adopting your features. Now, you can have the most important features in your product, track the feature adoption rate of those products. It's very easy, okay? How many customers do you have active in your product, how many of them are using these features. Now, this KPI tells you exactly how well your product is being adopted. A high feature adoption rate signals that your users are actively engaging with and finding value in your product's evolving offerings. A low rate, yeah, that's a sign you might be rolling out features that don't resonate, or perhaps your messaging and the onboarding for those features need work. This is a powerful lever for improving long-term engagement and retention. Next up is key usage indicators, or KUI. KUIs measure how often and deeply users engage with your product's core features, those that deliver the most value. It's not just about whether users are logging in, it's about whether they are using the product in ways that matter. This is not really about adoption, although it's related to measuring the adoption rate. This is basically how many times this behavior is happening. KUIs give you actionable insights into the features that drive retention and upgrades, helping you understand if your users are getting hooked on the product. The fifth KPI that I want to share with you today is average revenue per customer. And I love this metric. It helps you understand how much revenue each customer is contributing over a specific period of time. And this metric gives you a real sense of profitability, whether your pricing or your feature upgrades are really hitting the mark. Deep diving into ARPC allowed one of my customers to understand that their sales team was heavily discounting the product compared to those who purchased the same exact plans completely self-serve. They were actually leaving money on the table. Average revenue per customer is a really good indicator of how well your product strategy is working and what can guide your efforts to increase revenue through product improvements or pricing adjustments. And finally, the sixth KPI I want to share with you today is churn rate. The last thing you want is for users to leave after all your hard work of getting them onboarded. But churn rate tracks the percentage of customers who stop using your product over a set period of time. A rising churn rate is a big red flag. It means that your product isn't delivering long-term value. Keeping churn low is crucial for sustainable growth and indicates that users are satisfied to continue to see the value in your product. You should be measuring your churn rate in cohorts of first month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. But here's the thing, okay? Don't just focus on net revenue retention. And I see this a lot. Many of the founders I speak to, rather than mentioning churn rate, mention net revenue retention. The problem is that NRR can be highly deceiving. Sure, if your NRR is sitting at 100%, that looks really great on paper. Yeah, we're keeping up 100%. But guess what? It suggests you're just holding steady. That's all you're doing. But if your churn rate is high and you're replacing lost customers with upsells and cross-sells, you're not actually scaling or growing. You're just treading water. A high churn rate means you're constantly losing customers, which makes it a lot harder to achieve sustainable growth. So while net revenue retention is important, it must be balanced by a laser focus on reducing customer churn to ensure you're building a growing, loyal customer base. So these 6 KPIs are the backbone of successful product-led growth strategies. They allow you to identify bottlenecks, optimize product experiences, and ensure that your teams are all working towards the same goal. And don't forget that everyone in your leadership team should be responsible and accountable to one of these KPIs. So for example, tracking time to value will show whether users are getting what they came for quickly enough, while feature adoption helps you determine if your product enhancements are actually hitting home. When users engage deeply with core features, key users indicators, it's a clear sign they're finding lasting value and are likely to upgrade. And if you're ready to start tracking these metrics and unlock the full potential of product-led growth, hit the link below and download our free resource and kickstart your KPI journey today. Now that you have a clear roadmap of the 6 essential KPIs that drive product-led growth, you're no longer guessing. Congratulations! You're equipped to steer your team with data-backed precision. And these insights will help you pinpoint what's working, where to optimize, and which growth opportunities are just waiting for you to seize. But don't wait. Things don't magically align on their own, eh? It's time to take action. If you're serious about scaling your product-led growth strategy, you need to start tracking these KPIs today, not tomorrow, today. Your growth just depends on it. And here's the best part. I've got a free resource that will jumpstart this process right here, right now. Click the link below and download it and take control of your trajectory. Don't leave success to chance. Make your next move count, because the only direction you should be going is up. I can't wait to see how your product-led journey unfolds. Let me know in the comments below.